Welcome to today's edition of Coffee Time. Coffee Time is a public affairs program of 94.1 The Lake, WSNW. Views and opinions expressed in the program are not necessarily those of station advertisers, ownership, or management. Here's your host, Nona Carlson.
Good morning, everybody. It's Nona, and of course we have the XL Rehab and Sports Patient First segment today. We're always excited about that. Welcome, David Bright. I'm always glad to talk to you guys because I learned so much.
Well, thank you, Nona. We really love being on with you and love the opportunity to be able to kind of talk to the people in our community without them having to be right in front of us. I always tell people that come in the clinic, I appreciate you choosing us. I appreciate you choosing to be here, but I would rather see you on different circumstances. So this allows me to kind of talk with people and kind of have that opportunity without them having to be injured or without them having a problem and needing to come in the clinic.
And you guys really are people-oriented. I watch your posts on Facebook a lot, and you're proud of your patients when they succeed. You're right there with them. But moving on to what we're talking about today is a subject that's probably kind of near and dear to most of our hearts, and you can't out-exercise your fork.
Right. That is the conundrum that we have in our culture, especially within the United States. If you look at any culture, the more successful economically the culture is, the more the culture has a problem with their weight. And it's probably more true in the United States than it is anywhere else. Other cultures that do well economically don't seem to struggle with it as much as we do within the United States. And it poses the question, and my wife and I talk a lot about what am I going to talk about on the radio this week, and how what's the impact that I want it to have for our listeners and our community. And within physical therapy, wellness is a very integral part of what we do. Prevention is just as important, if not more important, than post-surgical or post-injury care. Because if we could prevent the accident, if we could prevent the problem, if we could prevent the pain, we've done something even better than treating it. So let's not just wait for it to happen, but let's prevent it. And really, Nona, honestly, wellness and what we eat really has so much to do. And when we think about our bodies, we often underestimate the impact of the interaction of everything affecting everything. And we think, well, that can't be completely true. That's kind of an over-exaggeration, but it's not. If you don't sleep well, it affects your ability to heal. And if you don't sleep well, it causes your nervous system to not be relaxed and calm. So then we actually hurt more if we don't sleep well. If we don't sleep well, it actually triggers our bodies to crave very simple things that it can get in the system that gives us a quick response, such as sugars and such as simple carbohydrates. So sleep is huge, and it's an integral role in what we eat. But what we eat is an integral role in how we move and how we heal and how we function. And an injury to one area of the body negatively affects other areas of the body and causes compensation. So when we say, and when I say, you cannot out-exercise your fork, the importance of that is this time of year, we're all looking at, okay, what are we going to do to have a real positive impact on my health? What am I going to do to just catch the tiger by the tail and make it happen this year? 2019 is going to be my year. What am I going to do that? And we all think about the gym. We all think about movement. We all think about activity, and that's good. That's important. Motion is lotion for the body. It helps. But the reality is you cannot out-exercise your fork. If you are eating, you can consume 3,000 calories in one meal. Well, if I work out hard, if I really push my body, I can burn about 800 calories an hour.
Wow.
Well, the problem is that's 800 calories that it took me an hour of sweat and hurt and just pain to get to. But I can sit down in 25 minutes and I can consume 3,000 calories. So you will never be able to out-exercise your fork. It is integral and important that we really do a great job of monitoring, but not in a way that is is miserable, it has to be a long-term solution. Diets do not work. They absolutely don't. And I've done them. You've done them. They don't work. It's not a long-term solution. So if you're in a relationship with your spouse and you say, we don't have a great relationship, but for a month, I'm going to treat them good, and I'm going to do the right things, and I'm going to love them and be there for them. But after a month, I'm going to go back to kind of being the problem person that I was before, and I'm just going to do my own thing. You're going to have success for a month, but you're going to go back to what you had before. And that's what diets do. It's a temporary change, and it actually wreaks havoc on our bodies because we're just putting it on a roller coaster. We're giving it ups and downs, and we're not giving it consistency.
And, I've often heard somebody say, well, gee, I ate that candy bar. I'm going to have to run 2.5 miles to make up for it.
Sure.
But you're right. If you think about you ate that, 3,000 calorie meal, you're going to have to be running for a while.
Absolutely. Now, we one of the things we got to keep in mind is the reason diets don't work, and just what you described, Nona, is because we get just mind bent on we are going to do this, and we're going to do it in a month. It won't happen in a month. We didn't build we didn't get this problem in a month. We're not going to change it in a month. So we have to start out at a pace that is sustainable. If you're going to run a marathon, or if you're going to run an ultra marathon, like a double marathon, you can't start out at a 5K pace. A 5K is a sprint. That's where you're all out and you're huffing and puffing. For some people can do it in 14 or 15 minutes. Those are really fast people. But those same people can't run the same pace for 26.2 miles. They can do it for 3.1, but they can't do that for 26.2. So we have to have this mindset of how can I sustain this? What can this look like? We can't just take away from our body to the point that we just make ourselves miserable. So people will talk about a cheat day and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. I like to think of it more as let's give ourselves some reward, but not go crazy. A cheat day, you would never do that in a relationship. You don't get to have a cheat day when it comes to relationships. So you've got to have some me time when it comes to our intake of our food. So that me time has to be controlled. Because if you starve yourself and you head into a really negative place mentally, and then you get some really stressful things happening, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I can't take it anymore. I'm just going to sit down with Hog and Dawes or Ben and Jerry, and we're going to make this thing happen. I'm just going to go off the rails. So the challenge with that is you go off the rails, you feel terrible, and you're back in the roller coaster. So, for instance, my wife and I, we try to eat healthy. We try to exercise. We have 3 young kids. We have businesses and stuff, and that's challenging. But we always say, you know what, babe? Would you like a cookie? Would you like a couple of cookies tonight? And then we make a couple of Toll House cookies. We put them in the oven. But the key is we make the number we want to eat. We don't make 12 Toll House cookies and then tell ourselves we're just going to eat 2 Toll House cookies.
Oh, that won't happen.
No. If those cookies, I'm like a horse. I will eat until it's gone. So don't put yourself in that position. If you know you have self-control issues, we all do. If you have self-control issues, don't bring it home. Don't put yourself in that position. If you can keep yourself from taking it from the store and then not bringing it to your house, you're going to be in a better position. But if you're going to go with Ben and Jerry, I love the Tonight Dough. I love it. I think it's delicious. But I love the fact that they only sell it in the little container. Because if it's in the little container and it's expensive, I'm going to savor it, and I'm not going to go crazy and just eat it all at once. But if you're somebody that can't even, if you're like, if I have it, I'll eat the whole thing at once, don't put yourself in that position. Or share it with a friend. Only bring it out at certain times. So we've got to find strategies, and we've got to find ways to do this. So I'm going to lead in real quick, Nona. So we cannot out-exercise our fork. You just have to get on the right path, and you've got to just an ant eats an elephant one bite at a time, and that's really what wellness is about. It is one day at a time, and if this day doesn't go well, that doesn't mean that tomorrow won't. We just got to make more days good than days are bad.
Well, I have kind of a ridiculous question for you. And
Okay.
you'll understand immediately what I mean by ridiculous. But there are lots of us out here who, of course, made our New Year's resolution to get in shape, as we do every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the gym a time or two, and you're not in shape yet. And you're
Yep.
like, how long does it take to get in shape?
Yep. That is a great question. Now, you know how long it takes to the answer is there is no end. There is no finish line to being in shape. And I know that sounds a little Eastern philosophy there. You'll be at the end when you're at the end, but the end will never happen in this lifetime. So that's like one of those. Okay, well we're getting too heady here maybe. The reality is I was in much better shape 8 years ago than I am now. But our bodies and our shape changes. It's a forever changing spectrum. There is no finish line. It's just a matter of what you have in front of you and what you can do. So how much time do I have? What goal do I have in front of me? What resources do I have? So for me, 8 years ago, this was before we had our first child, I was just all about being fast on a bicycle. I had time, I had resources, I had motivation. My time has gone down. My motivation has changed. I care more about being with my kiddos on the weekend than I do about racing with my buddies on the weekend. That's just kind of it's what changes. But my fitness has shifted a little bit. So if I only have 8 minutes a day to exercise, I can do something within 8 minutes a day. And you think, okay, well, what can you do? And I know that we're talking about not being able to out-exercise our forks. But no matter where you're at in regard to the time, to the resources, to the money that you have, you can do something. So we're never stuck. We're never in a position where we just say, I've got to throw my hands up. I'm lost here. And if you're struggling and if you're having trouble, we can help you. This workshop would be a great place for you. Even if you say, I don't even know if I want to run, just I want to be healthy. This is a great resource for you because it's going to hit on some topics that you're going to kind of be interested in. If you're not sure how your body can function because of the pain or limitations that you have physically, this will be something that you can take home some value with because we can do some screening with you, help you identify some limitations that we can help you get over. This is not about let's turn you into a patient in the clinic. This is about let's enable you to unlock your potential. This is much more than that.
Well, that and a lot of people do, as we said, with New Year's resolutions, or I'm going to run 50 miles a day, whatever it is that, you think you want to do at first. And they start off too heavy and hurt themselves. And then they actually do become patients.
Absolutely. So any way that we can help somebody say, okay, I agree, that's a great goal. But having a guy like Brock with performance training, he can say, yes, you want to run a 5K. Let me show you a safe way to do that for you. These guys over here at Excel have identified some impairments that you have. You can address those on your own. Let's see how that looks like and see how that goes. And he'll know, okay, you have some impairments. Let's take a different program for you than for somebody else that comes in and says, hey, you know what? This isn't my first 5K. I want to do it faster. He's going to take an individualized program and help you to create that. So, New Year's resolutions, we overcommit. We overcommit to diet. We overcommit to exercise. We want it now, and we want it yesterday. But the reality is it is an ultra marathon. We have to be strategic, and we have to know our limitations. You can't go to the same activity level that you had when you were 21 years old if you're 48 and you've not been active in that period of time. You're actually at high risk for an Achilles tendon rupture if you go back to high-intensity box jumps and things like that if you have not been active since you were in your 20s or 30s. We've got to find strategies to help you be more active, to help you eat right. And eating right doesn't mean being miserable. It just means being strategic. We've got to have a plan, and we got to know what that plan looks like. We got to have a goal of where we want to go with this. If you just want to be a little bit more toned, if you want to lose quite a bit of weight, we got to know what that goal looks like, and we'll help you get there. And that's actually a part of what physical therapy does as well. And it's one of those things that's a little bit unknown because everybody thinks, okay, we'll do physical therapy if we have pain or problems, but prevention and wellness is an integral part of what we do, and we're going to really focus on that for 2019 for our community as well.